All right. Good morning, friends. Buckle up. Today, we're tackling some juicy stuff. We're going to unlock the 7 secrets for mind-blowing solo pleasure. Boys, we're going to get after some life expectancy work coming up here in a few moments. Listen, you don't need a partner to live longer. We're going to give you some tips and hacks on how to do that. And hey, no gym? You don't got a gym? No problem. We got some exercises coming up later on in the show to help you fire up the fitness. And stick around. The incredible Graham Crawford, who turns data disruption into $1 million magic, is coming up today in the show as well. Of course, we got my buddy Johnny, got my buddy Marty, producer Jimmy on the buttons, Melissa out there behind the scenes, making sure all the words make sense. And before you dive in, guys, listen, I invite you to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, comment, tell your regrets, tell your fears, tell the joy, how much you're enjoying the only morning show for men. And remember, this is an R-rated experience, so earbuds in, kiddos out. And guys, if you're hitting the snooze, you're going to be 9 minutes behind. You know, we know we talk about here on the show. Snoozing puts you behind the guy who doesn't. We are your morning accountability partner, the team that helps you set good habits to start your day. And guys, a habit is not a bad word. John and I are having a quick little chat yesterday over coffee talking about how all of you guys think that habits and accountability are bad. No, habits and accountability are nothing but good. Listen, let's bring in the boys here, Jimmy. Let's bring in Johnny and Marty to kick the show off today and get the guys on the road. What is happening, boys? How are you today? I'm happy.
A quick little bit on that habit deal.
Yeah.
About 85% of what we do every day is subconscious, built into a habit. So if we have the right habits, our life just kind of goes the way we want it to without really having to think too much about it. But we'll have the wrong habits. So are habits good or bad? I guess it depends on which ones you're talking about. You have the bad ones or you have the good ones.
I don't like that people are so scared of the word habits. Hey, Marty, people like, I don't like habits, Marty, because they get scared of it, Marty.
Listen, baby, you got a habit stack and not calorie stack, baby. That's the problem right there. They got the wrong habits. They're stacking calories and not habits.
There you go. But I got some good habits this morning, Marty, and I was waiting to hear your voice because I got something to share with you, pal.
All right, let's check it out, man.
Allow me to clear my throat before I just turn around and grab something from my chair.
Yeah, Marty, he doesn't give me this big fucking, setup for telling me something. So feel special, brother.
Well, Johnny, because you don't live in a home of the worst hockey team than the Jets. So yesterday, I might have noticed that Winnipeg knocked off the Washington Capitals as the President Cup's champion. So yesterday, the Winnipeg Jets, boy, are the official President's Cup Western champions, Central Cup champions, and we're on our way. And I know we haven't won anything yet, Marty. We haven't won nothing. We haven't won, pardon me, fuck all. We got the Stanley Cup to win. I just wanted to make mention because I thought about you yesterday when I saw the breaking news that Washington Capitals lost, which means my team got a chance to win the President's Cup, and that'll be the last I talk about it until next week when the Stanley Cup playoffs start. And I decided last night, Johnny, you're going to get a crash course in hockey lessons over the next few months.
I was actually thinking about this. I actually worked with a hockey player about 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he came to me. He was one of those poor guys that I don't know how the leagues work, but he kept getting brought up into the big one and then brought back down. He just kept doing this, and it was killing him, But he came to me because he kept fucking tearing his groin when they're skating. And so we strengthened those muscles. So because that was a problem. He'd get set up, he'd fuck his groin up, they'd send it back down.
Damn.
And by the time we got him straightened up, I think they were just ready for his fucking groin to pop again. They would never give him a shot.
Hey, Marty, you notice how Johnny said, I had one hockey player work with me 10 years ago, but he hasn't had anybody since?
Yeah.
They're not hockey players don't frequent California very much.
I can believe that, actually.
Yes. Yeah.
More like up north, Midwest, Canada.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Southern Cali.
You figure, when they learn to play hockey, it's a cold environment, generally speaking. Right. And of course they put these teams in warmer environments, but it's like a fucking fish out of water. They're used to fucking walking around with snow, not sunshine.
Oh, geez. What are we in 1980, boys? Anyways, we're going to do some hockey lessons over the next, as long as the Jets are on the way to the Stanley Cup, I'm going to make it a part of the show because guys, I have been waiting. And this is actually true human story right now. I want to tell you, I've been waiting my whole life for this. So I've been growing up playing hockey since I was 5 years old. I've been a Winnipeg Jets fan. They left Winnipeg back in '97 when we lost our team. They got moved to Arizona. So I was imagine Marty losing, the football team, or the Ravens, or losing the Redskins or something. Like, imagine them leaving, right? So we lost our hockey team for the longest time. They're back. I have been a season ticket holder for the last 10 years. I have been waiting for this chance literally my whole life. My dad has never seen this opportunity. My father-in-law. So it's a big time. It's a big time for our city. And guys, the best way to put this is Winnipeg would be like Green Bay of the NFL, right? So if you know how big Green Bay is, and those 800,000 people get all cheese heads, right? So Winnipeg is going to go nuts here for the next few months.
Totally behind their team.
That's exactly it, Johnny. So we're going to.
That's a cool environment, man.
It is, yeah. So and our stadium, you guys are going to see next week. Every fan in the arena, all 15,000 wear white. We call it a whiteout, like a snow blizzard. And I'll show you guys some shit next week. It's going to be crazy because I'm going to the games, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So, Marty, how was your weekend, pal? What was going on with you? What was shaking over the weekend, brother?
Man, I had a good weekend, man. I had one of my childhood friends' birthday was yesterday, so Saturday we had like a dinner, caught up,
fun,
and yeah, that's about it, man.
You said childhood friend, still a good buddy? You're like to this day?
So, yeah. So we still close. And what's crazy is my dad and his dad are best friends.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's tight, man. That it's almost like the next generation doing the same thing,
Yeah.
So we got to keep it going whenever we have kids, whenever we have sons one day. We got to keep.
That's it. You got some tradition.
Yeah.
Some tradition to carry out. That's
cool.
Absolutely.
You know what's really cool about that is that Lauren was out with her girlfriend yesterday or on Saturday, meaning. She has two girlfriends she's been friends with since she was 5 years old. And she's going to be like her whole life, these two friends. So when I hear about you, Marty, talking about life, and that's pretty awesome, man, to have a friend like that, like for almost forever. That's exceptional. Like I don't.
Our dads have a picture of them two together holding us because me and him are the same age. So it's like, so I think that would be cool to continue with for sure. Definitely.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Johnny, how was your weekend, pal? Did you get any life expectancy work in? Are you and Terry going to live a little longer?
Oh, shit, man. I think we're going to live into the next life after this weekend. Because we're kind of just, obviously it's life is good. Can't complain. Life with choices is a good life. But, we're supposed to be going down to Mexico, to our house in Mexico, but we're kind of just in limbo. Just kind of waiting to go because, her best friend's husband's still in the hospital. So, we're just, we had a good weekend. I mean, granted, given the fact that this cloud's kind of over our heads, but we realize this is something we can't help. This is going to turn out to be something good for him once he comes out of it, because whatever it was that got him here, he's going to have to identify it and realize he's going to have to take better care of himself.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's exactly it, isn't it? That's how's your buddy doing with all that?
Fuck, man. It's, it was actually a little worse than what the doctors told Terry's best friend. So they said what they told her was he's stable. But realistically, that was what they should have said, because once we got a couple more days went past, then a little bit more, I guess you'd say, real information started coming out. What they should have said was we kept him alive, because they thought when they got there, they thought he was dead.
Jesus.
Yeah. So anyway, he's still he's still bleeding out of the brain. So the holes in his head are still, there to release pressure, and thank God it's still there. He started to come to, I guess.
Yeah.
But then the whatever the tube that goes down the throat for air.
Yeah.
He was probably didn't know what was going on and started fighting with that thing. So they they had to put him. Now they put him in a coma because So. Yeah, but keep in mind, man, this is it's sometimes very difficult to say this in these times, but this, there's always going to be something good at the other end of this thing. I think he's going to fight through this, and realistically, even for their marriage, I think this can be a brand new lease on life.
I was just going to say, sometimes those obstacles become opportunities, right? So
and then he can look back and decide, okay, you know what, this is where I was living my life that very well could have made this happen, so I'm going to make this change.
Yeah.
Did y'all see what happened? Not to be like a Debbie Downer. Did y'all see what happened with the kid from LSU, the football player?
What happened?
What? Yeah, man. That's been, I'm not gonna lie, that's been heavy on my heart.
What happened?
He got in some trouble. I think it was in December. He had like a hit and run situation and ended up killing the guy who he hit in the car. And so he had that going on, and then he got into some stuff this past weekend, and cops got called on him. He had a firearm, and the cops chased him down, and he just took himself out.
Yeah.
He was going to be like a lottery pick in the NFL. So.
Yeah.
You know, the tough situation, excuse me, about young people, obviously we're talking about young men right now, is they get put in these situations where they go from, you know, having a little bit of attention for being a good athlete to having just like almost like superstardom, you know, in the college world. And it brings so many different challenges for them to manage. And what they really need is they need someone to help them understand how to deal with all that shit rather than, you know, people giving them more shit to make it worse.
Yeah.
Well, it hurt me because I saw videos of his coach saying he's working on his mental every day.
Yeah.
He's working on his emotional maturity every day. So, I mean, I know the kid was trying, and it just like, you know, it's just very unfortunate, you know?
Well, you know, Marty, I want to spin that I'm going to say that one of the main reasons that I, and I know Marty, you Johnny, believe in this show is we've created a space for men, anybody really, men as a space to come hang out and talk. Right. Yeah. So, you know, if you need a space to get your day going, to get your life settled, and to have somebody to talk to, whether it's publicly or off the air, I can tell you guys right now, you know, my phone's open all the time. I know Johnny's, I know Marty's is, right? So I've had men text me after the show saying, hey, you got a time to talk? I'm like, yeah. Right. You know, you seem like somebody who's open to share shit, because I am, and people feel vulnerable with that. So, you know, anybody who's feeling heavy in the heart or heavy about the situation, I invite you guys to come reach out to myself or Marty. And Marty, Rick Clody is coming in here as well with talking about there's a hockey team in Lafayette, Georgia, called the Ice Gators, and then he gets into the conversation about this fellow committed suicide. It was alleged he ran a guy off the road. Former NFL pro, but facing some legal and family issues. He caught game-winning TD versus Ole Miss last year. Yeah, man, that's tough stuff, man. That's tough, man. That's tough stuff. That's tough stuff. Listen, we got a guest coming up here, guys. I'm gonna slowly pivot here. We got a guest coming up here in a few moments. Graham Crawford, guys. This guy just didn't survive tech disruption. The guy thrived, turning chaos into cash flow, big data into big decisions, and ADHD into a unique advantage. Coming up in a few minutes here, we got a guy who makes $1 million decisions in minutes. His name's Graham Crawford, joining me here in a few moments. Kurt Stein introduced me to Graham along the side here. Kurt's obviously a friend of the show. We're going to bring Graham in a few moments. But guys, before we do that, I want to lean into a conversation for a few minutes, because I've had this one on the table for a number of days. And Jimmy is just like, Keith, we got to talk about this. I'm like, all right, I guess we got to talk about it. And it's about life expectancy work for our solo friends. Right? And have you ever considered that your approach to solo life expectancy work might be stuck on autopilot sometimes? Guys, I did some research and I got some hacks. Hacks to pull back the curtain on some of the best kept secrets to transform your longevity, personal pleasure experience. And yes, we have those conversations here on the show. Moving beyond the routine.
Just at me, Keith. Just at me, man.
Moving beyond routine.
Just say my name this time, man.
Did I miss something? At me? What is that?
No, because he thinks I'm talking to Marty. No, Marty, I'm talking to Jimmy, because Jimmy's married. No, I was not talking. I'm talking to all the men who need some help with some solo life expectancy work, but embracing new approaches.
Don't assume I don't work on my life expectancy, man.
Right?
Don't expect that I don't work on my life expectancy, man.
I'm still going back to this at me thing. Is that another one of these fucking phrases that I've missed somewhere along the lines of pop culture?
It means like be direct and say my name. That's what it is.
At me. Okay.
Yeah. Johnny, I just heard it too, so we both learned something today from our young friend.
I was like, fuck, Jesus Christ, man.
I'm sorry, guys.
Hey, Johnny, that's why we keep the youngster around, so we can teach us all the new stuff. And actually, maybe after I share these life hacks on future life expectancy work, Marty might have a tip. But embracing new approaches to self-pleasure.
You know, I gotta teach Keith stuff sometimes. Man,
That's right. We'll see. Can proudly enhance your physical well-being, reduced stress, and deepen connection with your own desires, ultimately leading to a greater overall life satisfaction and a longer life. Because guys, we know if we're taking care of our life expectancy work, i.e. having sex, we're going to live longer. Stats show it, us and our partners. And guys, few things. Did you know edging, the practice of delaying orgasm, has been praised by experts for significantly intensifying pleasure. So guys, if you're having problems with
dude, fucking A, it said, that I always make the joke, you get to that certain point in a good long session and you think to myself, God damn it, I don't know if I'm going to be able to run this thing down.
Yeah.
Because then it turns into that last leg turns into what's supposed to be 100-meter going wide open. It turns into a 4 or 5.
That's
Next
right.
thing you know, the legs just start slow. I mean, so to speak, the legs just start slowing down. You don't have enough in the tank to catch it. Good
morning, Jeremy Baker. Good to see you here this morning in live. We're talking solo life expectancy work. And guys, according to the dominant KB who's in this article, with edging, the orgasm can become absolutely explosive. And guys, here's something else to think about. Being vocal, Marty, at you, being vocal during life expectancy work might be something that will encourage a fantasy in your brain to come out loud, which would be something you might want to consider as well. And then the other thing that a queer sex therapist, Mariah Love, suggests that exploring multiple self-erogenous zones.
Johnny, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I was going to say, you beat me to the punch. I was just taking a breath to ask you if you were there.
Did I get stuck for a second there?
Yeah.
and then, guys, we have obviously the toys, the anal toys, the rings, the innovative vibrators.
I got to step in right there. I've
get him, Johnny. Get him.
I've been very upfront with Terry and any other chick that I had that was any length, any more than a night. I said, look, I'm just going to be straight with you.
Yeah.
If you want to play with an asshole, you're going to have to get a boyfriend because that ain't happening here.
If you want to play with it.
I'm with you on that, Johnny.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I found this one fascinating too when I read this one. Is additionally techniques like, and I have never considered this truthfully, prostate milking. Yeah, milking the prostate.
Dude, my fucking brother is big on that.
Yeah,
I'm like, you sick fucker. I mean, granted, it's an old fucking hooker's trick, Marty. Check this out. The old hooker, because her job is to get the fucking dude off, right? And you think about it, these are nasty old motherfuckers coming in that have been mining all day. They're not fucking clean. They're fucking, they're just nasty bastards. So what does she want? She doesn't want to put that thing anywhere, let alone, in her vagina or mouth. So she just sticks her finger up this dude's ass, probably jerking him off, gives that prostate a squeeze, and bam, it's all fucking gone. Just like that.
So there you go. That's something you might want to consider. And guys, if you're ready to level up some of those solo pleasures, you might want to experiment with edging, slow down, pause. You might want to vocalize. You might want to try prostate milking. But more importantly, guys, is dedicate more time for extended self-pleasure sessions to fully immerse yourself in the experience. And the other thing too, they talk about it.
Look at Mark, dude. He's still getting over the prostate milking.
Yeah. And then,
I'm telling you, Mark, I'm with you. When that was brought through, when I thought, I was like, what the fuck is going on here, man? I was the same thing.
So the other thing too that I found fascinating with this article was popper baiting. Consider popper baiting responsibly a practice.
What is it? What is popper baiting?
Combining masturbation with inhalants known as poppers. Now, poppers are an inhalant that Marty, do you know about poppers?
What the fuck's a popper?
I've never heard of it in my life.
Research on the popper side of things either, but apparently poppers.
Is it a drug?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't have time to do the research on.
We better not fucking be encouraging doing drugs, jerking off, man. No. We're going off the wrong side of the road here.
No, we don't encourage drugs or gambling or any of that kind of. The only drugs we encourage is.
Look at Mark, dude. Mark can't even stay in the screen, dude.
Hey guys, you might want to experiment with different kinds of lubrication.
Dude, there's some weird shit that goes on with this, right? So this is way back. I'm in college, right? And I got this chick and her best friend's dad. This is what happened to him, right? So he had this thing with fucking jerking off, and he would basically, it's, as I understand it, I guess is fairly fucking common.
Yeah.
Where people would basically put something around their fucking neck and kind of slightly hang themselves because it cuts off the fucking air.
Yes.
And they get a little fucking goofy. He's fucking pounding off. This poor motherfucker gets such a good one. He loses consciousness and fucking hangs himself. They find him in the fucking closet, butt fucking naked, you know, just hung enough to fucking die, with fucking semen all over the fucking inside of the closets. This motherfucker got off so hard, it fucking put him to sleep and he died.
Dude.
I was like, you know, keep the fucking necktie off me when I'm fucking when I'm jerking on my stuff, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it was. He took a necktie and fucking tied it up on the whatever the crossbar in his closet.
Well,
is that heavy?
That's pretty heavy shit.
What the fuck?
Marty?
Well, and the worst thing is, can you imagine? You got a fucking daughter. I mean, of all the things that your fucking kid is going to find, for the love of Christ, how does that translate into a fucking role model that makes his daughter feel fucking protected?
So boys, remember, exploring your own body, do it healthily, do it safely, and the desires that you have, explore them. It's empowering. You deserve pleasure. That's deeply satisfying. Break taboos. Consider breaking taboos. If you're solo, talk to yourself about it. If you have your partner, talk to your partner about it. But celebrate desires and own your pleasure with confidence. And that is our fun conversation today on how to discover some secrets for mind-blowing solo pleasure on Mornings in the Lab with Keith.
Just to add to that, let's just make sure nobody's taking this fucking wrong way. We're talking about some good old-fashioned experimentation, gentle experimentation while you jerk off.
Yes.
Not fucking going off some fucking deep path where next thing you know, you're all fucked up watching some porn that's got you thinking about weird shit, doing fucking drugs, hanging yourself to get a good nut. None of that. That's not what we're talking about here. Let's just be very clear.
Thanks, Johnny, for the clarification. And Jeremy Baker, I see your comments. Yes, we're just having some fun, guys, to get the week started here. Go have some solo life.
You know what? It was so much stuff I could have said, but I'm just going to keep it to myself because I know we got to move on.
There you go. We got Graham. We got Graham Crawford coming up here in a second. Jimmy, I'm doing the accountability check, and we're going to bring Graham Crawford in less than a minute. We're putting that topic on the calendar, boys. We're going to get into this one. I've set some big goals. Yep. And I've sabotaged them in the same week. True story. Not because I didn't care. No. Not because I wasn't capable. No. But because I was stuck in a brutal loop. A brutal loop. Here's how the cycle used to work and look for me. I'd set a big goal. Jeremy, don't drive off the road, man. Stay straight. Stay straight. Go all in. Hit resistance hard. Jimmy, don't hit yourself hard. Hit resistance hard. Yeah. There's a little play on words. You miss a step, you lose some steam, then the voice wouldn't kick in. You see? You always fall off. You never follow through. And instead of learning from it, I'd either double down at a guilt or scrap the plan entirely and start over. That's the loop. Ambition, struggle, shame, repeat. And here's the part that most people miss. If you never stop to repair, you just repeat. I had to learn how to fix what actually broke, not just try harder, not just start again. Fixing the loop meant this. Looking at what really tripped me up, holding myself accountable without turning it into a guilt trip, and talking to myself like someone who deserves to win. But the biggest shift, I stopped chasing big, far-off goals and started instead to get some intentions around who I wanted to become. Now, it's not about hitting some perfect outcome. It's about showing up like the kind of person who keeps going. And that's how you build a stronger system. And stronger systems create real momentum. And that's what we do here on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. All right, Jimmy, listen. Today's center stage guest shines brightly on our guest, Graham Crawford. I'm sure Graham's sitting in the green room, Jimmy, going, what the hell am I getting myself into? These guys are talking about some crazy shit this morning. But hey, that's just like the fun we like to have here. Keep it light here to kick the things off. Graham's a master at scaling businesses through transformative data strategies. Graham's the brain behind pioneering e-commerce launches, Capital One's big data revolution, and billion-dollar cloud migrations. He's a fearless leader with nearly, and I love this, boys. Marty, Johnny, we got to celebrate this one. This guy's a fearless leader with nearly 1,000 days of sobriety under his belt. That's worth celebrating. Graham uses bold moves and deep empathy to help companies navigate disruption with confidence. Let's talk growth, guts, and why leaning into life's messiness is your secret weapon. Jimmy, let's hold them no longer and bring in Graham Crawford into the lab.
Keith, what's up, man?
What's going on, brother? How did you enjoy the start of the show today?
Oh, I've learned so much already. Like, just from the backstage, I feel like I've had a whole week's worth of education in 10 minutes, man.
What's up, Brian? How you doing?
Listen,
Nice to meet you, man.
we are big proponents of life expectancy work here in the lab because we've learned through science that if we're taking care of ourselves, we live longer. If we're taking care of our partners, we live longer. And some of us don't have partners. So we're always looking to offer life hacks to the men of the show so we all can live a longer, happier, more prosperous life, brother.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Spot on.
So we like to ask our guests one question whenever they get into the lab, the first one of the day, and it's a pretty important one. And the question goes like this, Graham. What is your morning routine?
Oh, morning routine. Oh, up early with the kids. I have I'm not paid, but I have an element every day, 32 ounces of water straight in. And then if I'm going to work out, I need to do it in the morning. So 3 times a week, I do the workout in the morning, and then we get ready for the day. So yeah. I don't think that's what the secret sauce is, but it's good to get moving first thing.
That's awesome. So Graham and Marty, Johnny, we need to celebrate this one right off the bat because I am so proud of what I've read about you, dude. Nearly 1,000 days sober. How has your personal journey informed the way you approach accountability, habit stacking, leadership, parenting? Talk about those 1,000 days and talk about the first day and the night before the first day when you had to make the decision or you chose to make the decision. This was it. Because Graham, there's a lot of men right now that are considering it, but maybe don't have the courage or don't know how. Dude, over 1,000 days, that is worth celebrating, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're at 876, 8 something, and like I still check it off on my app every night. It's part of my routine. I'd flirted with it a few times. Like I stopped drinking for a year when I was 27.
Yeah.
At a time when I was also working for myself, and it's interesting. Like I think I'd found the right path in life, and then I kind of walked away from it again. The kids came, I locked down a stable job, got sucked back into the world of corporate, which we can talk about, and then back into the world of drinking. And it's easy how it sneaks up on you. Like even after being off, it's like, oh well, I'll just do it at the weekends, and then it's like, oh, just the weekends, oh, just Thursdays as well, and then it's like, oh, there's this thing on Tuesday, and then before you know it, you're sliding through the whole week. So
that was exactly how that shit fucked me up, brother.
Yeah, it drags you in, and one of the things that first drink does is makes you want to have another drink, and you go up, you get the high for 20 minutes, and the only way to keep that high is have another drink, right? So so the cycle continues. So I'd flirted with it a few times. There wasn't a big rock bottom moment. I was lucky to kind of avoid having those. I've spoken to many people since who've had those, but yeah, I remember last drink I was with some friends. We were watching I think we watched the last season of Game of Thrones. Yeah. That's a perspective shifting moment in itself. Had this beautiful, it was a glass of George T. Stagg bourbon. I still remember it. Very nice drink. And I said, this is it. Like I'm done. Like I just gone. And like for anyone trying to give up something, it sounds like trite advice, but like the most important thing is if you truly deep down know yourself and you want to give up, then it becomes a lot easier, right? It's trying to shame yourself into giving up something, or trying to give up something when you haven't really that you want to do it, and you don't truly to the full depths of yourself want to do it. That's when it gets hard.
Yeah.
Well, I guess what you're describing, your story kind of reminds me of when I was kicking pills, and you come to that point where there's a sacrifice where it doesn't matter. Like I remember vividly, I had just gotten a fucking brand new bottle of Oxycontin, which is, just from the standpoint of what it was worth, I could have, sold it to a bunch of buddies. Beside the point, there's value there. It was hard to get those fuckers. And I just remember thinking to myself, I don't fucking care. I just dumped them in the fucking toilet. It's like you're ready to make the sacrifice. You don't care what the cost is to make the step. That's when I knew I was ready. It sounds like that's what you're saying too.
Yeah, I mean, I actually didn't dump it. There was an interesting thing. I was so sure of myself at that moment in time. I've actually got 5 bottles of bourbon, like my rare Pokemon that I call them, that were hard to find and whatever else, that still sit in my cabinet upstairs. And every day I walk past them, and it's not a source of weakness now; it's a source of power because I
How
can
is
walk
it
past
source
them, and
of
I know I'm gonna walk past them.
It's a source of empowerment for you, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And
Yeah.
like there's so much I could share about the sober journey, the immeasurable ways that my life is better.
Yeah.
The number of stories, like I speak to a lot of guys about it, and it's very telling just how quickly like people ask me about my story and then just jump in and say like, well, actually I don't really drink that much, and I'm like, that's fine, like you got to do you, but like it's interesting the stories that people must tell themselves. But either way, for me, and there are loads more sober people out there than you think. Like if you look at the data, like nearly 40% of adult Americans don't drink. But when you're in it and you're in that culture and you're in that matrix, like you don't see them.
No,
you don't see them at all, and you think, oh, everyone drinks as much as I do, and like 40% of people don't drink at all. So there you go. To start with,
I'll add this in real quick. I just want to give you some credit because you made that change and you didn't have to have something tragic happen, like like you totaled a car or so that even shows
somebody fucking died or who fucking knows. Yeah.
So it just shows how much more powerful you actually are. So I just wanted to give you some credit there.
Thanks for the love, Marty. I appreciate that, man. You seem pretty powerful yourself. So of all the things, like a few undeniable truths have come out, like my relationship with my wife is immeasurably better. My relationship with my kids is better. And you tell yourself before, like, I'm doing a good job of this, but only afterwards when you see what's truly possible, like, can you then be honest with yourself about, what, maybe I wasn't doing a great job of those things.
Yes.
And through all the sober people I've met, and not just the ones that I've met, some with like really tragic stories like you all are talking about, with death involved and violence involved and police involved and all sorts of other stuff like that. And I was lucky not to get close to any of those things. But I'm yet to, and this is what I always challenge people with. I'm try and find me a person who's sober who regrets it. You'll be looking a long time.
Yes. Say it again. A person who's sober who what?
Who regrets going sober.
Oh, fuck yeah, brother. 100%. And the thing about it when comparing, my pill addictions to your alcohol addictions, what you don't realize is that you're actually not happy when you're doing that shit. Your happiness comes from getting it away. Yes, you might be operating. That was my thing. I'm still handling my shit, just kind of like you were talking about. But then when you get that stuff out, you find a whole new level of elevation in terms of just how you feel, how you see. And someone who has a little bit of a substance, alcohol, whatever it is, a little bit every day will never see that.
Yeah, and that's a critical, like a super critical thing that I've seen from the other side. Like, and you hit on it beautifully there. It's this notion of like being an alcoholic being a binary thing, right? And people like imagine I'm drinking vodka at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm waking up in the gutters and doing and because none of those things are true for me, therefore I'm not an alcoholic, and therefore like what I'm doing is fine. But like you can still have a dependency, even if you're like one glass of wine a day. Like that's still a dependency, and still a far bigger emotional crutch than you realize.
There are so many freaking highly functioning addicts out there that you almost would never know unless you looked closely. Yes. Because they just have found a way to manage that addiction with, because the addiction is so important to them. If they don't handle their shit, then now they've got to look at their addiction. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You're hanging out with Jon and Marty and our guest, Graham Crawford, this morning on Mornings Live. Hey, Graham, can you hang around for a few more minutes with us?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to.
Awesome. That's what we're gonna do here, Marty. We're gonna do the fit shit. We're gonna do the fit tip with Christopher Martin.
Fit shit.
Or the fit shit, yeah. And then we're gonna come back, and I want to talk to Graham about this. Graham advocates for making $1 million decisions in minutes. We're gonna ask Graham, what's the best advice for overcoming decision paralysis? Coming up in less than a minute. Marty, get after it, brother.
Got to roll after this too.
Got you, brother.
All right, let's get it, man. Fitness tip for the day. All right. Don't let your ego get in between your progress. What am I talking about? Don't be like me, right? So yesterday I was at the gym doing a chest and shoulder workout, and this is my volume week where I don't go super heavy, but I lift, challenge, and weight. But I'm going more for reps and to challenge the muscle, and I'm going for muscle endurance. So I had an old head in the gym yesterday talking some trash to me oh yeah, you can't lift 315. I had just done about 5 sets. I'm probably 50, 60, 70 reps in. And I took it as a challenge. And now I did the 315. I did lift it so I can shut the old man up and talk trash. But after reflecting on that, after time goes on, that probably wasn't a good idea. Right? I could have thrown myself off from the workout. I could have failed, which I did have a spotter. Right? And that is me not staying focused on me. I let the outside noise get to me, right? I let the haters, whatever you want to call them, I let them influence me in a negative way. So stay locked in. Don't let anyone get between you and what you have going on, right? You know your body, you know what works for you. Absolutely challenge yourself, but go at your pace, right? You will progress. You will get better. Don't ever feel bad because someone else is making you feel bad about what you're doing in the gym. That's the fitness tip for today. Don't be like me.
Love that, Marty, because we too often compare ourselves to somebody in the gym. That's great advice here, brother.
Yes,
great advice. You going to get after it today? We'll see you tomorrow.
We'll be here tomorrow.
All right, pal. You have yourself a great day. Marty's out of here. We're going to keep the conversation going with our guest here today, his name is Graham Crawford. He just didn't thrive turning He just didn't survive tech disruption. This guy thrived by turning chaos into cash flow and big data into big decisions and ADHD into a unique advantage. Right now, we're talking with the man who makes $1 million decisions in minutes. And I left the break here with a question, teasing it up here, that Graham, you advocate for making $1 million decisions in minutes. What's the best advice that you would have somebody right now who's trying to overcome decision paralysis and they can't make a decision, and you're like, fuck, get on with it? What's your advice?
Yeah, I'm going to roll off the back of what Marty just said. And this advice about the gym kind of rolls across the business world as well. So don't let your ego beat your progress. And this is something I've been focusing on this week. Like, there are a lot of businesses out there with executives or owners, and they love nothing more than seeing that all green dashboard or all green report at the end of the month. And they don't stop and ask themselves, am I measuring the right things? Am I looking at the right data? Am I challenging myself? Or, just like in Marty's example, am I prioritizing my ego and I want to just prove to my team or prove to my staff or prove to my clients or whoever it might be that I've got a super successful business with my all green dashboard, and it could be withering and dying underneath you because you're not looking at the right thing.
Yeah, isn't that true? Isn't that true? So let's segue here then. The green dashboard and all the data behind it is often linked to storytelling, and we know that executives and CEOs love great stories, right? Whether they're right or wrong. And in the corporate world, the stories are told every 90 days to move the markets. Fucking hate it, but hey, that's just how it works. Yeah, you've combined your theater background with data expertise. Now let's weave storytelling into it. How does storytelling enhance your ability to implement data strategies, Graham?
Yeah, I mean, you need to follow the story arc, and it's again a very useful thing to lift out of theater and put into the world of business. Like, you have to first supply the context and introduce the characters the same way as you would in a theater show, right? We have to meet all the characters, we have to meet all the different business metrics or all the things that have created the current situation. We then have to build some tension, right? And this is the classic hero's journey storytelling, right? So we build some tension around, hey, this metric might look green, but what's actually going underneath it is this thing, and therefore you build the tension, and then you complete the hero's journey as part of the storytelling you do with that data, and say, here is the path forward. It's different, but this is the path forward, and here is the different outcome that we're going to get to at the end, and then we have the happily ever afterwards. And just doing that, like, rather than diving straight into the tension, if you don't take the time to set up the characters and build that tension the right way, you don't get people engaged in the story enough to want to even meet the hero.
What interesting. Yeah, interesting. When you mentioned Game of Thrones, you're a data guy, you've left alcohol you left alcohol 1,000 days ago. You strike me as someone who enjoys storytelling, who enjoys seeing the big picture, right? And who enjoys solving complex business problems, just based on your profile and anything I've read about you. When I look at Graham, how does your immigrant experience uniquely shape your approach to complex business problems?
Yeah, it allows you to see things from different perspectives. You know, when I moved to this country, I did it with like almost every possible privilege I could have had, right? So I was an internal transfer from the UK across to the US. Like I was a member of every majority group going pretty much in the UK. And then I had this inadvertent experience. I think the company that was moving me across had an international reload firm, and they each thought that the other was organizing a social security number for me, and nobody did. Right. So I landed in the US on my own, 3 months ahead of my family, with no social security number, which effectively made me, to all intents and purposes, an undocumented immigrant. Now, I'm not trying to equate the experience fully. Like, I worked for a big bank. They were able to get me a bank account, but couldn't get cable, couldn't buy a car, couldn't rent an apartment. And just everyone I spoke to, as far as they were concerned, I didn't even exist. It's even with Verizon's the one that sticks in my mind the most, because I wanted Wi-Fi so I could do some work at home. They're like, no, you don't exist. You're a risk to us. And I said, I will pay 2 years up front. The full contract, I'll pay you right now. And they're like, still no. And for my whole life before that, I'd been a member of pretty much every majority group growing. I lived in the country that I was born in, et cetera, et cetera. And that just drastically shifted and equipped me with a great power to see things from a different perspective and see things from a different point of view.
Interesting. Johnny, questions for Grim?
Yeah, no, my first thought was, you know, when you were dealing with, you know, basically everybody telling you were a ghost, my first thought was, what do I do in that situation?
Yeah.
I'd have to find a dear friend or, you know, a trusted female partner that could be the person on paper for me. Is that how you dealt with that?
No, like I had nothing. Like my family were all incoming immigrants as well. I had no friends. Like, and you know, my work could help me out with a bank account, but that was, and they gave me a rental car, but that was just about it. Not a long-term fix. I ended up leaning on some of my other privileges. Right, I went into it was a Subaru. I ended up with a Subaru because I explained the situation to them, and they basically, I live maybe 10 miles outside of Washington D.C. in Northern Virginia, so you know, there's a lot of diplomats around here, and Subaru ended up like saying, all right, well, we'll just treat you like a diplomat and we'll give you this thing and whatever, and we'll put this paperwork through for you. Like, yeah. But again, which was nice. But from the other perspective, if I didn't look the way I looked and work the place I worked, like, no way they'd do that for me. Like, that was completely inequitable treatment. Yeah, so like, it was a blessing for a couple of reasons. But yeah, a real window onto privilege there as well.
Yeah. Grim, you through your journey, you boldly switched from corporate exec to entrepreneur, and you even switched countries. What's one bizarre culture shock moment that you're never going to forget?
I mean, there's too many, like almost too many to count. Like, two different types of culture shock you talk about there. Like, one, moving countries.
Yeah.
The fact, like, I just didn't expect it. Like, I thought, oh, same language, same kind of thing. I've seen the movies, like, whatever. I've visited a couple. I've been to New York. Fine. Like, how hard can it be? Yeah. Like, completely different culture. And like within the world of corporate culture in America, like it's two things: the humor and the passive aggression, right? So people over in the States were much quicker to like push somebody else under the water to stay afloat. I'd say, whereas in the UK, like, the corporate skullduggery still happens, but it's more like gently poisoning people than it is like shoving them under the water. So that's the first thing. The shift from corporate to entrepreneurship is like, that was powered by the stuff we've already talked about, like the dropping alcohol, the spending a couple of years like working on like getting to know myself again and shaking myself out of this person in this role that I had to bring the theater back into it. I realized through corporate, like I'd acclimatized myself to playing a role, and you play that role to meet whatever the objectives or the criteria are that put in front of you, even if that role is not you, and it creates this incredible emotional tension. Yeah. So the great culture shock about leaping into entrepreneurship is just what an incredible supportive community it is, and there's enough room for everybody to win, and everyone wants everybody else to win, and that level of support was like a complete culture shock from corporate, where you might get the occasional one or two people who want you to win, but really, like, most other people are like, I want you to win, asterisk, but only if it makes me win as well. So that's one bad culture shock and one good culture shock.
Yeah. You're hanging out with Keith and John and our guest, Graham Crawford, this morning on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. We got Jorie Janzen joining us here in a few moments on the protein break. We're going to talk intermittent fasting. Johnny has a conversation you and I had yesterday. We're going to bring it on the stage as well here in a few minutes. We're going to do a lifestyle tip. Before we do that, we got a few more minutes here with Graham. Graham, I got a segment I've added to our questions with our guests. It's around rapid fire. I got 3 questions for you, rapid fire questions. I want to see how you handle them. All right, brother?
Hit me.
All right. Here we go. Number 1, cold showers or ice baths?
Oh, the showers. They're easier to just turn off and jump than it is. It's easier to turn off a cold shower than it is to leap out of an ice bath.
One tech trend you're excited about beyond AI?
I mean, the many applications of AI, like beyond that, like it's hard to look past it really right now. We're so close to some incredible breakthroughs with that. I'm sorry, I went with AI when you told me not to, but can't get away from it. And you're not going to either.
Most surprising song we'd find on your playlist?
Ooh, well, you've given away the theater background, so I can't surprise you with I can't surprise you with my theater stuff. But I'd say my wife got me super into Linkin Park, so I will say, yeah, What I've Done by Linkin Park is one of my favorites.
With Emily Armstrong or with Chester Bennington, or a little bit of both?
With Chester, we saw Linkin Park in 2008 with Chester in Manchester in the UK, and it was still like sticks with me now. And it's one of those experiences that was electric enough now, but since Chester's sadly no longer with us as well, it sticks in the mind even more. Like, you got to live life while it's in front of you. Yeah,
the world lost a great artist when we lost Chester Bennington, and I got to say that Linkin Park did a wonderful job with their new vocalist, Emily Armstrong, who is extremely awesome as well. And then finally, Graham, I got a bonus question for you. Comment on our mutual friend, Kurt Stein.
He's a great guy. He's just like, I met him for the first time, and he was
no. I'm trying to create content for after the show. Comment on our great friend, Kurt Stein.
I've only got sorry, I was to disappoint you again. I've only got good things to say about Kurt. Like, the guy is an open book, open heart, great connector. Like, a lot of time for Kurt.
So do I. I joke because Kurt has been with me since day one, and he's been a friend of the lab. He's been a friend of mine, and I got nothing but all the time in the world for my good friend Kurt Stein as well. And Graham, last question for you, brother. Looking back on your transformative moments, what's the single best decision that you've ever made, and why?
I mean, we talked about it at length already. I think the dropping alcohol and realizing that even a small amount of alcohol a week can still translate to a problem, can still like hold your potential back. I think coming out of corporate, the leap into entrepreneurship, the mental and physical health journey I've been on, the self-discovery, like I can link all of that back to that moment. So yeah, it unlocked so many things for me.
That's awesome. And Graham, finally, where can our audience, where can our community, where can Business Athlete Nation find you, connect with you, and interact and get to know Graham Crawford a little further?
I'm always out and about on LinkedIn, of course. And, for those more interested in the personal journey, I have a personal blog on Substack called Shifting Perspectives.
Yes. That's awesome. All right. Well, listen, we are, Graham, I appreciate you hanging out with us this morning in the lab. Was it as good for you as it was for me and Johnny?
To all the boys. I had a wonderful time. I love the energy. Like, I was super excited about your energy going in. I love that you took the conversation all over the map as well. Great to explore all the depths of lots of things. So thanks so much for having me. I appreciate you all.
Nice to meet you, brother.
Awesome.
You too, John.
Graham, you come back, hang out with us again sometime, and check out the show. And you and I are grabbing a coffee a little bit later this morning. I'm looking forward to catching up with you one-on-one post-show as well. So you enjoy the rest of your morning. Go give your kids and your wife a hug, and we'll talk to you a little later. Okay, bud?
Sure. Well, thanks, Keith. Catch you later.
All right, Johnny. That was fun, man. That was a solid dude, man. The guy's got some good shit happening there. 1,000 days
Absolutely.
sober. 1,000 days sober. I love when we meet people like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's just so empowering, eh?
Yeah. Well, and the thing is that he recognized how much better his life was without it.
Yes. All right, let's do it. Let's do the lifestyle tip with you, Jorie Janzen. And I was inspired by our little chat yesterday. You know, I never have little chats. They always go long. About intermittent fasting. So I thought we can create some content and conversation for our audience around IF. I know we talked about it before, but I thought we could talk about it at length today with Jorie. Let's get after it, right, brother? All right, brother. Get some lifestyle tip with Jon Andersen. Let's do it, bro.
Why is nobody talking about this? Or even better, why are people not doing this? If you're trying to make progress, what I'm going to talk about is absolutely essential. You've got to do some friend inventory and fit in for even more than friends. You got to look around your life and you got to figure out who are the negative bastards that you need to remove. And it's really easy to find them. Sometimes people say, oh, I don't know how to figure out who's who. Well, check this out. Here's your roadmap. You see, the positive people in your life are going to always have solutions. The negative people in your life are always going to have problems with those solutions. It's very simple. You take the negative bastards, you push them aside, you surround yourself with positivity, you surround yourself with solutions and opportunities rather than problems, and you will be absolutely blown away at how fast you start making progress. Literally that simple. Rock and roll.
Feeling jacked up by that message from you this morning. Jon Andersen's lifestyle tip every day at 9:45, 8:45 Eastern time for you guys, giving you guys always something to think about. David Kendall, I see your comment, man. I'm with you, man. Like 1,000 days sober respect. And I love about it too, Johnny and David, is that he didn't make the choice because of a tragedy. He didn't make the choice because, it was like, you're going to die if you don't stop. No, he made the choice because he wanted to. And what I also love about it is that he didn't make the choice by dumping a bunch of alcohol down the toilet. He said, no, I'm not going to do it. He's got a bunch of alcohol still on the counter and he's empowered by the whole situation. And I love Rick Clody's comment too, is that anytime we think we can't live without something, fill in the blank, it's usually a vice. And Jorie, I think that also comes to food as well. Jorie Janzen joining us here this morning. Our great friend, our nutritionist, our dietitian, my good friend from Winnipeg, home of the Central Western Conference and President's Cup, Winnipeg Jets, Jorie Janzen.
With a new look. I dig the hair.
Wow.
There's no ponytail today.
Yeah, look, I like it. It's sharp.
The ponytail's kind of my go-to. It makes the day run real smoothly. But today I thought, you know what? I'm going to just leave it down. Well, at least for now. Probably after this, it'll go back.
I learned something, Jorie. I got to ask you. I learned something from my beautiful wife, Lauren, about hairstyles, and I'm actually curious, Johnny, if Terry does this or maybe Jorie, if you do. But she does the high pull pony to give the same day a facelift effect, because when she does the high pony, it pulls the face all back, it lifts the eyebrows, lifts the forehead, and she's like, I do that so I don't go for Botox or fillers, and I just pull the hair, it pulls the head back quite nicely. Is that a hack you subscribe to as well, Jorie?
It's not, only because
I got a different take on the hack too. I want to hear Jorie's.
I like it, but you have to have like nice hair,
Yeah.
very thin, fine hair.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
I think nothing wrong with people that are bald. My husband's bald,
Yeah.
but I would look bald, and if I don't have to, I don't want to, right? So yeah, but I get that. I definitely do. But yeah, no. So maybe one day I will subscribe to the Botox, but for now I just choose to age gracefully.
Me too. I wear my lines with my wisdom lines with pride. Johnny, what's your comment on the high ponytail with all your hair on your head, brother?
We have a lady that literally does house calls. She shows up to the house to give us Botox. Yeah. Literally, like if I'm sitting, this is a studio, so I'm at the desk here. But if I was in my office, literally all I would have to do is turn sideways, and she steps in and takes care of me, and then I go right back to work. That's how efficient it is. No getting in the fucking car, no fucking driving someplace, waiting in fucking line. Okay, it's your turn. No. You got 5 fucking minutes.
Totally not opposed to it. I just I feel like again, like think of me with like hair. It took me like 8 months to get my hair redone. So I feel like it's a commitment, and not again, I like commitment, but that seems like something I'd have to commit to, and I'm just not there. So
there you go. Hey, how was your weekend? Friday, you let us know that you had an active weekend, but how was your weekend?
It was good. It was full of volleyball.
Yes.
So that's great. And you might know provincials are happening this next weekend, so that'll be fun. I love watching coaches from other teams and the athletes from other teams, and then the team that my daughter's on, and they're not a good team, but they are a great team because of their interaction. You can genuinely see that they care about each other, and they lose so often that at the end of it, like anytime they do something that was a good move, like they are celebrating.
Losing brings you together.
Yes.
Losing brings you together. Yeah.
Right? And I actually was really disappointed, as were some other parents that overheard a coach talking to their athletes. And I think their intention was probably really positive, but how it came off to others in the space was like, ooh, these are 13 and 14-year-olds. Do we need to go there? And it was like, comments of, you're playing down to that other team's level. You need to be winning. You need to, and it was very negative. And then I heard another coach, and it was like, and not my daughter's coach, another coach, because I like listening. Yeah. And what I heard her say is, let's not, have the ball hit the ground. Ladies, I'm proud of you.
Just change of yes, right? the delivery, right?
Yeah. And I just thought, like, they're 13 and 14. Yes, they need to learn life is not roses for sure. But at the same time, they're 13 and 14.
Yeah, there's a lot.
It's just in general, it's just a good coach leans on the solutions, not on the problems.
Yep.
And unfortunately, especially at that age, Jesus Christ, this is where they learn to recognize what the solutions are. It's like their reticular activating system is being trained. And your coach tells you what to look for. If a coach is telling you to look for problems, he's doing it all wrong.
Yes.
Right? Well, and it was everything. There was like this one coach was like, the same coach was calling out the ref saying, no, this, right? And it's just like, what is that teaching? Respect? And I don't know. I'm okay with fighting for a cause, but it's
teaching negative energy. And there's enough of it in the world, which is why we love doing our show, which is about positive energy. And today's positive energy, Johnny.
Our fucking brains are going to find those problems, whether we like it or not. So let's not fucking talk about them. Let's talk about the fucking solutions.
Exactly. And a solution I want to get into today, guys, and it was inspired by a conversation I had with Johnny yesterday. We've talked about it throughout the year together, but my goal here today is to create some conversational content that can live on forever around this topic, uncovering the compelling reasons behind intermittent fasting's popularity, talking about benefits, but also the critical cautions that we might want to talk about. And, we know that IF can significantly enhance your health, simplify lifestyle, and perhaps even boost mental clarity. One of the reasons I like to intermittent fast, transforming the way you manage weight, energy, and longevity. But guys, intermittent fasting isn't just another diet. It's a lifestyle shift that alternates between periods of eating and fasting. And some scientific research highlights several key benefits, including improved insulin sensitivity, reduced inflammation, enhanced brain function, and potentially increased lifespan. Jorie, John, let's get into some of the benefits here, which is promote fat burning and weight loss, enhancing brain health and cognitive function, reducing inflammation and oxidative stress, supporting heart health and longevity through cellular repair processes like autophagy. Yeah. However, it's crucial to recognize that intermittent fasting isn't without risks. Jorie, let's get into some of the risks. Nutritional.
Can I just say one thing before we start off with what I just think that we're going to go into a whole different side of this, but I think if someone enters into this understanding that there's a really powerful tool, which is exercising discipline.
Yeah.
You exercise it because it's not going to be easy. And if you commit to it, you say you're going to do it and you do it. Now, obviously, you've got to do it safely and yada, yada. But I think if people would, like, I know many people who will fast for 3 days, but they're actually trying to fucking gain muscle. It's not because they're like, I am exercising my discipline so I can do all the shit that I need to do to build that muscle. This is just 3 days of the next 12 months of my life. Yes. But I need to put that discipline in check to do all this other shit. So just remember, if you've never thought about that element of this, that's something that can be pretty powerful.
Yeah, and that to me is what it's about. Jorie, when somebody asks you about intermittent fasting, how do you approach an athlete, a regular human coming in and saying, Jorie, I want to explore intermittent fasting? What's your answer to me if I came to you with that question?
What's going on in your world right now?
The why, right? The why.
Yeah. Well, the why is important, and when is also important. So if you're someone that's going through a really high stress time, maybe it's a break in relationship, maybe a child is going
Yeah.
through a hard
Yeah.
time, whatever it is, any sort of shift in something that could be seen as deprivation is
Yes.
only going to cause harm.
Mm.
What's your history? Do you have a history of
Yep.
an eating disorder?
Yep.
Likely not a place I'm going to recommend you go. Like,
Yeah.
actually, for
It's
sure
going
not,
to feed that problem. It's going to feed
right?
that 100%. So agree with you.
And I know that we're really big in, and I love this because I believe in this, but like when you and your partner are working on things together, for that health outcome, it's great. But women in perimenopause and menopause, I'm probably going to suggest not intermittent fasting. So if your partner is a man who is benefiting and hardcore and really excited about intermittent fasting, saying, come on this train with me, I'm going to say you might, but also consider what's happening. And for women in perimenopause and menopause, estrogen receptors are not working as well. They need an extra stimulus. If the goal is to keep or gain lean muscle mass, when the estrogen receptors are not firing, it needs that hit of stimulus called food, and most importantly, some protein, a little bit of carbohydrate too.
Yeah.
So it's going to depend on your stage of life. Are you a man? Are you a woman? And other sort of history going on in there. So I'm not opposed to it, but I just want to make sure that it's the right fit for someone.
Interesting.
Jorie, as you say that, it kind of dawned on me that just all of a sudden because I've known this, but it never became so clear in my mind in terms of when I talk about this is I mean, if you're going to intermittent fast, if you're doing it for you to actually change your physique, you're fucking using the wrong methodology. It's got to be spiritual. It's got to be mental. It's got to be discipline based. There's so many elements that you can improve that are going to help you be a better human being or develop as a human being. But when you start, if you're doing it as a form of losing body fat, it's generally speaking, that fucking backfires for people.
Yeah.
I myself have, and I've talked about it here on the show. I've done a 7-day fast before.
But hold on, but make sure you let everybody know that was a 7-day MCT oil fast.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I just didn't finish. I drank water with MC2 oil with my coffee, so it was a modified fast. But what I enjoyed about it, whenever I do a 2 or 3 day fast, and Jorie, I want to ask you about this. I enjoy the mental clarity that I achieve when I go through it. Does that make sense to you? And if I came to you back to the role play, and you're like, Keith, why? And I'm like, well, Jorie, my brain's a little messed up right now. I really just need some mental clarity. As a nutritionist, as a registered dietitian, you're supporting that?
Again, it really will depend. I'll want to explore further because I know this. You can find the same amount, if not more, research suggesting that exercise can create that clarity. Your spiritualism can create that clarity. Like when I'm working out with my daughter, sometimes she's working out to improve performance because she wants to again get the highest score on the beep test. Good for her. But for me, sometimes I've got my AirPods on and it's my spiritual time. I'm listening to music that really, really goes deep for me and is making me get to that next level that people will find in their fasting. So I think that it can be a route to that. And if that's what's speaking to you and in this stage in life, explore it and see if that works for you. I haven't found anyone in my 23-year career that's ever used intermittent fasting as a weight management for long term. It just has not been sustainable.
Interesting answer. Well,
that's my field, right? I haven't, and of course, I don't. I mean, I guess everybody does intermittent fast because we're not eating 24/7. I mean, we have breaks.
Yeah, we intermittent fast every day when we sleep. Right. The question is, do we stretch that window out?
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't, and the stage of life that I'm in, I haven't seen the evidence to say that that's going to support me. In fact, more harm But for some people, it's something that keeps them going. It helps them have that reset, right? Like, I'm doing something. So again, it's not a body composition, right, Jon? It's more of it's a reset in terms of your belief system. It's that little energy, that hit of dopamine of like, yes, I got this. So it can be more of that than anything else.
And then, yes, I achieved it. And right, Jorie, because yes, I'm going to do this. And then, yes, I achieved it, because let's face it, right? Okay, the family's all having dinner tonight here on a Saturday night. I'm choosing to fast. I'm not joining the family. How do you guide somebody who's making that choice not to join the family and fast?
So this is going to sound like a little bit not nice, but I'm just going to say it. One of my questions is, how's that working for you and the family?
Yes. Yeah. Right. Yes.
And so that's usually where I go, because I'm very protective of that.
Yes.
So if that's going to cause distress for you and the family, so like, why can't you just come and join us and sit with us and enjoy the partaking, not just the sitting in the moment, but the partaking part.
Yes.
So if that's causing disruption, could you switch the time that you're fasting?
Well, then if you've got kids, what the fuck are you demonstrating? You demonstrating fucking being hungry to try to lose your belly? That's not a good fucking example.
Yeah. There's so many, like, especially it's so accessible, right, with social media. Like, all of the trends come out. Our kids are seeing it and hearing it. Luckily, my daughter she's been brainwashed to believe that those things don't work. So we're cool that way. But I mean, there was a mom at one of the games yesterday, and she was just saying, my family has, a history of anorexia. And I'm like, well, then probably we were having this conversation. Certain things like this are not going to be the best, because there's an elevated risk happening there.
100%.
Yes.
Right?
100%. I had a sugar addiction before I even understood what it was. And as I was wrestling as a youngster, I was always having to fucking make weight. And, there would be periods, you couldn't eat, and in those days I didn't understand. What I should have been doing was eating a little bit, not drinking, because the water's what's heavy, not the chicken breast, so to speak. But either way, all I'm getting at is me having a food issue. And doing that, it just literally, it poured gasoline on that problem. It was like that fire was, it was big, but now it was just completely engulfing my life. All my brain would do is think about when I got to eat that next candy bar, because I had not eaten for so long to fucking make weight.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like there was this dietitian that worked not just with eating disorders, but one of her aspects was working with women and women with eating disorders. And I remember she did this workshop, and and it might sound silly, but it really was enlightening to me. She said, okay, she talked about like diets and, trying to say like diets generally are deprivation, right?
Yeah.
And so she was like, everybody, hold your breath for 30 seconds. And she started talking about, and we were all holding our breath, and she's talking about how she's breathing in and out deeply, and how the air was so beautiful. And we're holding our breath going like, okay, when is this 30 seconds up? And what happens is that you gasp, right?
Yes.
You overdo it. And then you're like, oh man, that wasn't awesome. And that's what restriction can do. So intermittent fasting isn't always about restriction for some people, but for many, if they really look at the root, they go down to their 5 to 7 whys they're doing this, it does come down to that. Often, not all. And
in many cases, it's attached to some sort of self-punishment.
Yeah, that too. Good point. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So it really, if you can go deep into what's your why for this, and it's not to feel bad if you've done this and be like, oh yeah, that was me. Don't feel bad about it. It's a learning opportunity, right? And if it's something that does give you strength and empowerment, and it's not causing harm to you and your responsibility if you have a family, it's not causing harm to the people around you that you care about, then that can be part of your journey.
So, Jon and Jorie, I want to end this segment with answering this question from both of you. If somebody is looking to try intermittent fasting, how would they start safely and effectively? And I'm just going to cue it up. Would it be about choosing a fasting schedule that aligns with their lifestyle, or would it be consulting somebody like yourself, Jon, or yourself, Jorie? How would somebody start safely and effectively? Jorie, you first.
Okay. I would say, first of all, checking in to see if you're mentally well. That'd be the first one. Are you in a good space? What's your history? What have you been before in terms of any sort of addictive behaviors, any sort of trauma? Is that in a safe space? Right. And so I'd start there. Then I would still look at the why, and then the who's impacted.
Yes.
That's where I would start. But absolutely, if you could have someone that could coach you to make sure that you're on track because this is important to you, that you're doing this in a way that makes sense for you and your life stage.
Yeah.
That's where I would start. Jon, I'm curious with yours. I would love to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, number one, I don't really recommend it unless it's purely for a spiritual thing. When I say spiritual, meaning beneath the skin. If someone's going to do it, irregardless of what I'm saying, and they have their own belief system, and they're asking me, how do I get started and do it safely? Well, you've already fasted from the time you went to sleep to the time you woke up. So let's just say that's 8 hours. Let's assume you ate right before you went to bed and you slept 8 hours, right? Well, you got to basically just stretch it out a little bit. Now, maybe instead of eating right when you wake up, wait 2 hours. So just kind of play with it a little bit. And a lot of times you can kind of start to understand if this is for you or not before you just take some fucking plunge and try to starve yourself for a whole day and then have this huge backlash like you just described earlier. It's like you get to take a breath. Well, fuck, now you didn't eat for 24 hours. Well, guess what? That first time you ate more than you would have eaten all fucking day. Yeah. Now you've really taken a problem. And again, you're pouring gas on a fire, you know? So if it's a physical thing, I'm not as supportive of it.
Yeah. I think that for me and Jorie, what, you know, you both are leaning into this, but it really comes down to making sure is you're right up here in your head. Right. And I love that you guys both recommended that, because one needs to have a ton of self-awareness to make the decision, just why you're doing it. And then when you make the decision, the outcome, you're either going to set yourself up for failure which is going to put you step back, or sit down with somebody like Jorie or Johnny and have the conversation, or AJ or a mental performance person that helps you get to the space where you're ready to make the decision. Because in my experience, you know, I think that somebody who does it half-ass whimsically is going to set themselves back further than if they don't do it properly.
Well, and here's the thing that I want to add to this. If you're taking care of yourself, you know, on a mental, spiritual, emotional level, the odds are you don't have a fucking belly that you're having trouble with. Usually that's a side effect of being fucked up somehow. So work on the fucking problem, go to the root, find out what that root is, solve it there, rather than, you know, you're dealing with this side effect. You're attacking the side effect that's never going to go away, when you got to get down to what is it that's making you want to do this?
Well, and Jorie, and Rick Clody comes in, I think, the best comment here, which is, and he leans into the idea of intention, which is, if you're going to prepare to do a fast, you also got to think about how you're going to properly break it. In other words,
yes.
Going through a fast, Jorie and Jon, is not an accident. Like Jorie, there's a purpose, there's an intention, there's a methodology within the whole thing. Jorie.
Absolutely. It's when anyone comes to me and they want to follow any sort of dietary change, and I don't want to, you know, hurt people by calling things fads or diets, because that can be triggering too. But if you're creating you know, a change, so it is, what is the intention? And I always say, so when you're done this, what's next?
Yeah. I was just going to say, what's next, right? Because I was going to say, Jorie, I'm glad you said that, is that when you fast, there is inevitably an end. And then what? Yeah. Right? Because we subscribe to the idea of the loop here, Jorie. We just do the same thing. You know, that's how good success happens, right? So, okay. So is fasting a short-term thing? Is it a lifestyle thing? Is it what happens when it's...
It aligns, fasting aligns with the fucking yo-yo. You know, the gain, lose. Because if you know, I mean, think about it, you know, you're going to have to have discipline to get through a fast. You're going to have discipline to stick to a meal plan. you know? So why not just fucking apply your discipline? If you're doing it to develop discipline, I get it. But if you're using it as a methodology to make physical changes, you got to have discipline one way or the next. You might as well have discipline in a way that's you're going to apply that to something that's going to be a long-term solution.
Yeah. And guys, listen, remember, optimizing health is a journey tailored uniquely to you. We talk about it all the time on the show. What works for me might not work for John, might not work for Jorie, might not work for David Kendall, right? But the reality
real quick, I'm sorry, brother. I got to just put, Lauren just put in there that your fast was not only MCT, there was honey in that fucker too.
Yeah, I said that. Yeah, the Manuka honey with the MC2O.
Oh, I missed that part.
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
but the thing I love about yours was it was straight up fucking discipline based. It was spiritual based.
Water with that in there, and that's all I did was just drank that in the morning. It just kept me focused, right? But
and on that level, I was going to say, Jorie, you tell me what you think. If someone's going to fucking dive off the edge and do some fucking crazy long fast, Jesus Christ, put a little something in there for your brain. Like that MCT is going to translate to help your brain deal with going through that. 7 days with nothing, with just fucking water. Holy Christ, you know?
Yeah, it's even when I look at, like, I have for the past 2 years, I've had at least 1 to 2 students that follow Ramadan, and that's a whole month, right?
Yes.
But they have intentional times where they do feast.
Right.
And so those are the times, and there's no water in the fast. There's no food, there's no water in the fasting time. So when I'm working with an athlete, when they're going to competition and they're in that, or if they're in that training, we have to adapt those things and create an environment to support them. So they're not going in and fasting for a weight change. It's part of their religious spiritual time.
Spirituality.
I know that, Jorie. You just taught me something. Did I hear correctly? When you're in Ramadan, you don't even drink water?
Yeah.
It's when the sun is up. When the sun is up, there's nothing.
Sunset and sundown, there is a window.
Yeah.
And so what I do when I have those students is I create a different schedule. Luckily, how I work, I can do that. I know there's certain occupations, career paths where you can't do that. And they so appreciate it. I'm like, I think you need to be napping now. You're not going to work. You go do you, right? So it's really important to look at. That's why I always say, like, what's the why? Always not just curiosity. So then you can provide the support, right? And these are students that are learning about nutrition, because what some of them have done is, like, it's also part of celebration. So in the feast time, sometimes it's all about the rich food too. So they're having to navigate all of it. It's a lot. So can you fast? For many reasons, and for some people, it's mandatory to fast. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to do this on my journey. It's this is like foundation of my belief system. I have to do it.
Well, and think about this really quick for people who've never, like Jorie and I deal with people going through this. Normally, a person is going to eat roughly from sun up to sundown, roughly.
Yes.
Now, all of a sudden, you're flipping that around. Now you're eating from sundown to sun up. Talk about a flip flop, man.
For a month.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. That's a long fucking time.
Well, listen, guys, listen. The information is readily available all over the interwebs about fasting. If there's a little bit of advice I can offer on behalf of myself, Jorie, and Johnny, is go find all the information you want, but sit down with somebody who has that human knowledge, the AI, and all that written stuff is going to give you all the ways to do it. But go sit down with somebody who's experienced it from a professional level, Jorie, John, AJ, somebody who like that, who can talk you through it, help you with your whys, and more importantly, help you with what happens when it's done. Because Jorie, I think what you put on the table is as most important as anything is, I'm going to do it. Okay, what happens when it's done? Because you might be right back to the beginning if you don't have a plan for when it's done. Great conversation.
And on that level, obviously, Jorie and I have lots of experience, helping people with nutrition. Neither one of us are basically condoning it for a physical thing. It's in Keith, you've done it for 7 days. Well, obviously it was MCT fast, but the 7 days is a long fucking time, no matter what you're putting in your coffee. Jesus Christ. So, and you did it for not a physical change as well. So I think that it's pretty simple to see that, for you, from experience, and Jorie and I, this is what we do, that really, really think about, if you're doing this to lose your belly, you're fucking looking the wrong direction.
Yeah.
You know what? We'll do the same thing, or actually we'll do more than that, is after you eat, go for a 10-minute walk.
Yep.
Yes. There you go.
Lift some weights.
Yes.
2 times a week. Go for a 10-minute walk after you eat.
We love lifting our weights here in the lab. Jorie Janzen joining us here every single day at 8:45 Eastern time. We kept her overtime today because I said to Jimmy, we're going to create some great content with Jorie today. Always appreciate the conversation. Jorie, what's on your agenda today as we say goodbye to you this morning?
I get to follow up with some athletes today. I'm super excited. For some of the groups I work with, we're in transition. We're end of season. So we're looking at what do we do off season? And then with my summer athletes, we'll be looking at going into season. So I've got some nice transitions happening. It's fun.
That's awesome. And hey, listen, I'm going to drop you a text today. Would love to grab 15 minutes in your calendar this week, 20 minutes and grab a coffee just to share an update what's happening here in the lab behind the scenes.
Sounds good. Sounds good. That's awesome.
We appreciate you, Jorie. Johnny's final words for Jorie.
Thank you as always, Jorie. It's always a pleasure. I'm loving the new hairdo. Your husband must be thinking this is great. Now I got 2 wives.
So the other day I did have it down and he's like, I like the hair down.
Yeah, it's like this is like a piece of Strange walked in the house here.
I just the ponytail's easy. It's like, when you guys get up, you wear the hat. That's the ponytail.
Oh, hell yes. Yeah. It looks good. So it looks wonderful.
I love it.
Probably won't be on Wednesday, but there you go.
We've been warned, Johnny. We've been warned. Jorie Janzen getting after it, and Rick Clody is sending some shout outs and love. Looking great, Jorie Janzen from Rick Clody. So I'm telling you, Jorie, every time you come in, the community lights up. This is always a great segment for us on the show. So we appreciate you.
Jorie, no matter which way your hair is, your smile is always the same, and that's what's important.
Oh, we got David Kenner with
there.
There we go. That's it.
Say hi to Kurt for us. You enjoy your day, okay, Jorie?
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you, Jorie.
All right, Jorie's getting out of here. Oh man, I love that segment, Johnny. It's just always great conversation. The feedback from our audience is always great. Such great value from that segment. So, listen, we're overtime, man. We had a long segment with Jorie there. I think you and I are going to work towards saying goodbye here. And then a couple of things. Hold on a second here. Before we do that, though, I got to make sure that I got some boxes checked off so Jimmy doesn't give me shit after the show. No, we'll do this one tomorrow because I did have a topic I wanted to make some content with you. We'll do this one tomorrow, which is no gym, no problem. How somebody can get a lower body workout at home without a gym. And I know you have some good advice.
Piece of cake.
Exactly. So let's do that one tomorrow. I'm going to set that one up for tomorrow. But I'll do a deep dive. I'm going to get you out of here. And then Jimmy will do the community corner. So I guess that's all done here today. What do you got on the agenda today, brother? What are you doing in the gym, man? What are you doing in the gym today?
Actually, today is a day off. I'm kind of flirting with a new schedule.
Oh, dude, Monday.
Yeah, in terms of
gym?
What's it? Yours is off the gym today too. You said?
I said a Monday day off from the gym. What's going on with that, brother? It's like
because I'm not really. I often I don't connect a certain day to a training. It's more of a cycle, right? And so I'm kind of playing with the whole. I used to train 6 days straight when I was younger.
Yeah.
And then you get a little you got to start kind of threading days off in between.
Yes.
And so one of my buddies he's a couple years older than me. And he looks equally good. I mean, fucking guy's a savage, right?
Yeah.
And he was basically telling me that he switched to every other day training.
No kidding.
With weights. Weights. You're still going to get some good, going to get some good blood flow.
Yes.
And he said he was fucking really surprised with the outcome. So, because I normally work on a max 3 day in a row, usually two on, one off, sometimes 3 on. Like if I'm going to travel, I'll get myself over trains. I may not train for 3 days. That'll always be there.
Yeah.
But if I've got a stretch where I can just have my rhythm, it's usually 2 on, 1 off. So I'm playing with this 1 on, 1 off and see how that goes.
Nice. Well, that's pretty good, man. Yeah, it's 2 on, 1 off. Interesting. Well, what I love about it is that you just try. It's just trying stuff, and that's again what a lot of people get frustrated with the gym is they want like the straight line answer. No, it's
progress. It's like, okay, if you realize there's a different button to push and you're going to make more progress, are you going to not push that button?
But John, I'll be honest, I had to learn that though. For my early days going to the gym, I was like, okay, I got to do it this way. I got to get this result. I had to learn how to enjoy the progress.
Sure. But keep in mind the flip side of that is, so like Terry and I will play some pickleball today. We'll do some, there'll be other types of activity that'll still be, and And on that level too, it's kind of nice to have these different types of activities that you look forward to. I look forward to lifting weights for sure. Yeah. I'm really curious to see when I remove it a little bit, how much more I'm going to want to do it, which is kind of fun.
Yeah. Let me tell you something really cool before I say goodbye. So this morning I get up my regular time, it's 4:45, 10 to 4, and I'm grabbing a coffee and I look at my phone, I turn it on. I get a text from my son, Carter, from last night at 10 o'clock. And he's like, hey, I'll be by tomorrow at 6 a.m. for a lift. I was like, fucking yeah. You know why? He's got a full day today, full day of school, and then he's got a full night tonight of some kind of retreat. So he looks at the schedule for the next 3 days. What's he doing? Because what's his non-negotiable? What's important to him?
Get it in.
He gets it in. So I'll tell you, I was having a coffee this morning, looking at my day going, okay, well, I guess I got to up the level a little bit because the boy is showing up to keep the dad accountable. I just love it, man, because when the boy is showing up, I'm like, okay, I can't drag my ass because he's getting up to get after it, right? So I love that when the kids make those choices that they make without our influence. Now, of course, we had the influence along the way, but I get the text last night. It's like, yeah, I was in the gym tomorrow. Like, yeah, boy, it's fucking awesome, man. Good for you.
Well, you know, if you break that down nice and simple, brother. Yeah. As a parent, we have a choice. Yeah. We can put our work in up front, or we can put our work in later. Yeah. And when you put your work in up front, there's actually quite a lot less of it. Because if you don't put it up front, then you've got this fucking young adult who can't take care of himself, and you're the job never ever finishes on that level that it should be. Because in parenting, the relationship evolves.
Yes.
But if you don't teach, like, so you clearly, brother, you did what you were supposed to do because he's such a fine young man.
Well, you know what I love about it too, Johnny, is that, and we talk about it all the time, it wasn't about telling him, it was about doing it. And all Carter has seen is every single morning he sees his dad get up with his non-negotiables and gets to the gym. So what does Carter do? What does Carter do this morning when he looks at his calendar? He's like, I got a big ass day ahead of me. I guess I got to get up early today to get my non-negotiables out of the way. You want to talk about a proud father? Like, yeah, boy, you get after it, man. So, and then here's the best part. We gave him a gift from the government when he got here, me and Lauren. And the gift from the government was a speeding ticket that he got in the mail today. So that was a funny thing too. So Carter, good to show up for the gym today. Oh yeah, you got a gift from the government. Oh, what did I get? He's like, oh shit. I go, yeah, he got himself a nice $260 speeding ticket.
Oh, ouch. Well, you know, it's a great topic, brother. I just put a post up on social media. I think it was yesterday, the day before. It was a picture of me and one of my daughters running on these steps. That's 150 fucking steps, dude, with one small landing. And all of my girls, I took every one of my girls there. Yes. We would, I mean, fuck, man, we bonded. We overcame adversity. And it was those steps were nothing more than a tool to teach them. And it wasn't me sitting there saying, hey, you have to do this. I was doing it and they followed along.
Yeah. You know what? I'm glad you brought that up quickly before I let you go here. Holroyd, I see your comments here. Yeah. Peer pressure lift today. Johnny, I went to Piper's dance on the weekend and she's at the convention center. And when I walk into the building, you're faced with a big decision. 2 escalators or the big staircase of stairs. And I love it because when you watch human beings, it's such a great teller of humans' choices of where they are on the choice scale. When you get there and most people go to the escalator and you're like, no, I'm taking the stairs. And I love it.
And they're taking the escalator right up to get their fucking nacho.
I know, but I love it because there's so many metaphors. You can take a picture in front of a staircase and an escalator and think about the metaphors that's attached to that. And then just stand and watch the human beings make the choices.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm going to suggest to you, most make the easy choice. And I'll just leave that there.
Oh, brother, if it's so fucking crazy, you know, when you make hard decisions, your life is easy.
Yes.
When you make easy decisions, your life is hard.
Yes, and I'll tell you,
it comes right down to the fucking stairs of the escalator.
And Keith and Lauren's legs on the weekend were just trash from last week, but brother, we just made our way slowly up the stairs because you know what, pal? What I learned from doing my walk up Kilimanjaro, pole. It wasn't about speed to the top. I just put one step behind the other.
One at a time, baby. That's what the handrail's for. If you need the fucking handrail, grab a hold.
And guess what? It maybe took me a little bit longer, but we got to the top. And Lauren's right. Stairs are a non-negotiable. I love it. Because you know what? That easy decision, parking further in the parking lot, taking the stairs, man, not hitting the snooze. Brother, we just gave humans 3 life hacks. Take the stairs, park further. What was the third one? Uh,
I don't know. It's all good shit though. You know, on this whole thing of the steps, I got a little something. I'm just going to give everybody a little thing that I do. When I go to hotels, I always am looking for a hotel that's tall.
Yeah.
Because what I do when I'm there is I'll basically go to the stairwell for my room.
Yeah.
I'll basically walk to the bottom and then I'll walk to the top. And you try not to look at the numbers of the stories as you go by when you turn the corner, but you get into a place where you've got 10, 12, 15 fucking stories and you lumber your ass up to the top of there.
Yes.
That is like, that's a really, really eye-opening
yes.
fucking moment, and it's a way to, when you're like, for me, when I'm traveling, I look forward to it. It's like, fuck, this is going to be a challenge.
Yes. Lauren and Jimmy were listening, the snooze button. So take the stairs instead of the escalator.
There we go.
Don't hit the snooze button. And here's the fourth one, guys. If you're staying in a hotel, pick a tall one and just go through the stairs. You know,
well, and if it's a tall enough one, dude, you go 15, 16 flights in one fucking shot. You're not fucking walking down those steps.
And you know what's great about that?
Your legs will be shot.
It takes you 5-10 minutes and it'll set your vacation or your time away so much. The feeling you're going to get after doing that, man. There you go.
Because when you're on vacation or you're traveling, it's really easy to fall out of groove. When you start off doing something like that, it's very difficult to want to be an idiot and make bad choices after you put yourself through that.
Very easy to be an idiot. Good choice of words. I love that word, idiot.
Well, that's because sometimes we fucking act like idiots. Like, I know I'm not supposed to do it. I'm doing it anyway. You fucking idiot. Don't do that dumb shit.
It's such a funny word. It's such an idiot. All right, brother. Well, listen, such a good show today. Graham Crawford, great guest. Had some good stuff to throw in there. We started the conversation with soul life expectancy work, and we ended it off with idiot talk. Brother, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed you, and I enjoyed our conversation today, and we'll get back after it tomorrow. In less than 24 hours in the loop, we got a full show tomorrow with a bunch of humans coming through as well. We're going to have some more fun tomorrow, brother.
Have a good loop, my brother.
You too, pal. Take care. All right, Johnny's getting out of here. Jimmy, just you and I left. Idiot. That's a funny word, man. Fucking idiot. Idiot. Okay, Jimmy, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the deep dive. My biggest regret about starting a business. And then we're going to do the community corner. Yeah, we got the Substack. We have the LinkedIn creator. But first of all, we're going to do the deep dive. And I'm just looking for my notes on it. Got a little bit of notes on the deep dive today about regrets of starting a business. All right, Jimmy, there we go. All right. Let's get after it. Rick Clody, the town idiot is everywhere with the advent of the interweb community. Yeah, it's so true. There's just idiots all over the place. You go, idiot, just an idiot everywhere. Okay, Jimmy, let's get into the deep dive here, which is my biggest regret about starting a business. And ideally, we would have had a few folks have a conversation around this. And maybe we'll have this question for Johnny tomorrow because Johnny has started and sold a couple of businesses. But, I've had a lot of conversations over the years about building businesses. And people always ask, Keith, what do you regret, or do you regret anything about starting your own company? And I got to say that, I talked with Carter about this a couple weeks ago with going through playing hockey. But first of all, I think we as humans too easily chalk up experiences to regret, and then we just pass it off. It's like, I regret it. It's like the easy word in the dictionary just to associate a bad experience with. I got regret, and then we don't do anything about it. I don't know if I necessarily believe in that. I really believe in learning from an experience and not considering the idea of regret. However, to answer this question and to simplify things like we like to do here on the show, I want to lean into the idea of regret. And the biggest regret that I had, and I still have, less now with starting the lab here, about starting a business. And this is the thing, guys, and I leaned into this conversation with Carter and even Piper and Brookie with my kids along the way, is this idea of not enjoying the journey along the way. And it happens often in sports. We're focused on winning the championship. But then we lose sight of what happens along the way because we're so focused on the journey. And I can tell you, I speak through experience. I was on the journey of building my company and selling my company. And there were times I can tell you that when Maurice and I were building ICUC, it felt like we were sprinting a marathon. True story. Every milestone we hit, every revenue target, every new client, every new hire felt amazing for a few minutes. It was like, oh yeah, this is awesome. Celebrate. And then immediately it was like, okay, what's next? Let's go. What's next? And the pressure to keep scaling and growing and truthfully enjoying making the money was what was proving ourselves that everything overshadowed everything else. My point is that by chasing what happened next, always took us out of the moment about what we were in at the time. And I vividly remember one evening celebrating landing a massive client, laughing about it with the team, and everyone was buzzing with excitement and cheers and so forth. But my mind, I was already worried about the client we might be losing or what was happening next quarter or the next deal or the next hurdle. And truthfully, there were times in my journey that I missed the moment entirely. I wasn't present. And you know what? You can't get those moments back. Do I recall when I sold the company and those moments of joy? Sure. But I was also thinking about how I can max out my earnout the next couple of weeks. As I talk to my kids often, is while we're chasing goals, while we're chasing milestones, we need to find a way to enjoy the experiences along the way. Perhaps while you're traveling to a conference, perhaps while you're meeting inspiring people, perhaps while you're watching team members grow and thrive. Yet while I was in that, I was often mentally somewhere else, consumed by anxiety, consumed by expectations. The ironic part, Jimmy, is that the success we were achieving, truthfully, was exactly what we had dreamed of. And in my mind, it was inevitable to me. Good morning, Jay. Good to see you here this morning. Right now, I'm talking about my biggest regret about starting a business. And the biggest regret, Jay, is about not being in the moment while you're growing it, right? I spent a lot of time obsessing over what might go wrong or what needed to happen next. And it's a journey that, again, when we're trying to achieve outrageous, audacious goals, it's easy to think about next week. It's easy to think about the challenges that might happen along the way. But here's why this conversation matters. Building something meaningful shouldn't mean sacrificing the joy along the way. Growth doesn't need to feel like just constant anxiety beating at you. Success, frankly, isn't truly success if you're too busy worrying about the next step to appreciate what's happening right now. Guys, I got to tell you, I learned this lesson the hard way while I was on my journey of selling ICUC. So let me ask you, are you generally enjoying your journey? Or are you just racing towards some future point where you think you'll finally relax? And we talk about it often on this show. You might be stuck in a job right now. You might be stuck in a career right now. Or you might be purposefully in those jobs or careers rushing towards retirement. Is that living? Are you fully enjoying your journey right now? Are you postponing your happiness until some arbitrary goal is met, only to set another goal once you arrive? Because guys, I can tell you, I wanted to become a millionaire. Well, Friday happened, I became the millionaire. Then Monday happened. I was like, I got to do this again. So here's my encouragement. Slow down enough to feel the experience. Celebrate the small victories. Embrace the setbacks. Embrace those setbacks as growth opportunities and be fully present in every conversation, every decision, and every moment of your business journey. Take time to reflect. Because guys, trust me, success isn't just the end, the destination. We talk about it often. It's enjoying the progress along the way. It's feeling alive. It's feeling fulfilled and grateful through the entire adventure. This, guys, is the real reward. The joy in the journey itself is the real reward. I know that you guys right now, many of you are chasing big, audacious goals, creating something awesome. I can assure you The excitement is not when it's finished. The excitement is happening right now. So if you're in something right now, take the time today to enjoy it. Because if you don't, before you know it, it's all said and done. So if you have any regrets about starting a business, I would love to hear them. And like I said, to me, this wasn't necessarily about regret. It was about learning from that experience that while I'm doing this now and growing the lab, I enjoy every morning getting up, hanging out with Jimmy, hanging out with Melissa, John, Marty, and all of our wonderful guests. And I make it intentional to find joy at waking up at 3:45 in the morning. I find intention at finding joy at getting in front here. And I find I find joy in even the mistakes we have along the way, because that's part of the journey. Because I know from experience that when we achieve these big audacious goals we've set out here in the lab, and they happen on a Friday as a metaphor, there's still going to be a Monday that shows up. So guys, enjoy the journey, enjoy the progress. There's no such thing as perfection. Just like going to the gym. There you go. That's it. That's it, Jimmy. That was my biggest regret about starting a business. Was it what you guys thought it was going to be? Huh? Was it what you thought it was going to be? Okay, so now we're going to get to our community corner, our creator spotlight. This time in the lab here, where we like to celebrate human beings doing awesome things. And guys, when it comes back to the deep dive, I would love to hear your comments. Would love to hear what you guys have to say. If you're enjoying the journey, if you're questioning your journey, if you're questioning your purpose. This even links back to the intermittent fasting conversation we had with Jorie, right? If you're going to start an intermittent fast, find a way to enjoy it along the way so that you can enjoy coming out of it, right? One, understanding what that why is. Okay, Jimmy, we're going to start with our LinkedIn creator. Somebody here in the lab who we're going to spend some time shining the big old mornings in the lab creator spotlight. Guys, this segment happens every single day on the show. And why? The world's full of negative bullshit. We thought we'd create a segment that celebrates wonderful humans, community, right? And there's a moment in every career where things stop being straightforward. Think about it. The job gets more complex. The tools, they get louder. And the path forward gets foggy. Well, that's where most people freeze. But a few people lean in. They bring structure to the chaos. They master the system and then teach it back with clarity. And that's what this guy does this morning that we're going to celebrate here and introduce you to on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. This guy started out running an MMA gym in the Chicago suburbs, just trying to grow the business. And that search led him to Salesforce. That decision changed everything for him. Who is he? This morning, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends is excited to introduce you to Jon Garvins. Let's shake and John. John with the awesome beard, revenue cloud architect, CPQ expert, beard expert, jiu-jitsu black belt, and a career coach guiding veterans into tech. He's taught more than 450 professionals, advised over 100 clients, and Jimmy, get this, man, producer Jimmy, the guy's logged more than 10,000 hours inside of Salesforce systems that most people barely understand. But here's what sets John apart. He doesn't just know the platform, he knows how to lead people through it. Whether he's teaching CPQ or coaching a vet through a career pivot, John brings precision, patience, and no wasted words. He's not loud, he's lethal. With clarity, with discipline, with real world experience. So, if you're navigating complexity, if you're stuck in a system you can't quite untangle, John's the guy who you want to learn from. I invite you, follow him on LinkedIn, watch how he works, and level up the way that you lead, because this fellow is going to help you become a better leader. John, love to have you in the lab, my brother. We have celebrated you today, and how this works is we'd love to actually have you come on the show and give us some beard advice on how to manicure the beard, how to take care of the beard. Jimmy, this dude has got the best beard so far on the show. The guy hasn't been on the show yet. So Johnny Garvins, we got to have you on the show just to celebrate the beard. Hey, Jim, do you think something's living in that beard? Sometimes I wonder when guys have like massive big ass beard. I had a big ass beard for a while. I just wonder if something lives inside of it. Hey, John, sorry, just to digress, Johnny. Listen, John, love to have you on the show, not only to talk about the beard, but to hand you the Community Corner Creator Spotlight, Jimmy, and shine it on somebody else who might have a better beard in your community. Just saying, just wondering. So there you go, Johnny. Love to have you on the show, here to celebrate you on the Community Corner Creator Spotlight. Go find Jon Garvin's Consulting. Go find him on LinkedIn. Just go Google Great Beard LinkedIn Consulting. Jon Garvin's name is probably going to pop up. I think, Jimmy, that's how it's going to work. Maybe Jon will be the inspiration for me to grow my beard back just super ass long. And then I'm sure I'll get the comments from my kids and my beautiful wife that I should maybe change the beard. All right, let's get to our next one here. We're gonna turn the Mornings in the Lab light in this direction over here. And the direction over here is over to Substack. And what's Substack? Substack is the home of the lab. Substack is an incredible platform where you build your audience through email. Instead of building followers on somebody else's platform, what you're building on Substack is your audience, your community over on the platform. And today, we're going to talk about somebody who says this. If you ever look in the mirror and think, is this it? Is this it? The stiff back, the tight hips. Not talking about Jon Andersen right now. No, the constant ache that shows up before your feet hit the floor. Everyone tells you it's just part of getting older. I'm getting older. I can't hit my feet on the floor because I'm old. No, that your body's supposed to break down. No, that the pain is the price of midlife. No, but what if it isn't? What if all that soreness isn't age? What if the soreness is neglect? What if your body doesn't need a prescription? What if it just needs a plan? Well, Jimmy, there's someone who's figured that out firsthand. Years of manual labor, followed by even more years at a desk, left this dude worn out and barely holding it together. Pain was constant. Energy was gone. He was one bad week away from giving up until he didn't. He started with one of my favorites, yoga on a mat in the living room. Guys, notice what I said. Yoga on a mat in the living room. Didn't even mention the gym. Before coffee, before excuses, non-negotiables. Just one uncomfortable stretch at a time. Well, that decision changed everything for him. The guy behind that story, Jimmy. Today, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends is going to introduce you to Tim Ebbe. Tim Ebbe. Sorry, Tim. He's the creator of Time to Thrive on Substack and a voice worth following if you've ever wanted to feel better, but should know where to start. Tim writes with clarity, humor, and a real-life perspective. No fluff, no shame, no magic fixes, just small daily actions that actually make a difference. So if your body feels older than you are and you're done pretending that it's just the way that it is, because guys, I can tell you that it doesn't have to be that way. Start here, follow Tim, and get to work. You should be able to touch your toes without pain, without thinking that, it's because my body's telling me that I'm too old. You're not too old. Go follow Tim Ebbe. He'll help you get out of the chair, touch your toes, and have a more productive life. And Tim, here's how it works, brother. We'd love to have you on the show. We'd love to have you on the show and hand you the Community Corner Mornings in the Lab Creator Spotlight so that you can shine it on somebody in your community and we can continue to pay this experience forward. Woo! That's a big show, Jimmy. All right. Yep, wrapping it up. On a Monday morning, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends, the loop is wrapping up here till we get back at it tomorrow. Less than 23 hours. Jimmy, I'm going to have a habit happening here in the next couple of weeks or so. And the habit's going to include my beloved Winnipeg Jets. Yeah, I got to show this off on the screen so we can create some content. That's it, guys. There we go. President's Choice. Good morning, Greg. Good time. Good to see you there, brother. How are you today? Good to have you in the comments. Hey, good time. If you are not a hockey fan, I'm encouraging you to adopt my local hockey team, the Winnipeg Jets. Future Stanley Cup champions. You can follow through on the journey with me over the next few months. Last night, we were crowned President's Choice. President's Choice. That's a brand here in our country with food. the President's Cup champions, Western Conference champions, and Central Division champions on our way to winning the Cup. It's a good time. I invite you to join that journey with me. Get on the bandwagon, guys. The bandwagon's starting. Adam Horwood, Rick Clody, David Kendall, my baby Lauren. I know she's on the bandwagon with me. Who else we got here? Jeremy Baker joined us as well this morning. Jimmy, who else joined us here today? Scott Staplover joined us here today over on Twitch. Scotty, I appreciate you joining us. Hey, Jim, we can do a better job promoting our Twitch stuff, I think, actually. Glad to have you here in the lab. All right, tomorrow, we're back. Let's see. Tomorrow, we have on the agenda tomorrow, just looking at our topics for tomorrow, guys. What's the big one tomorrow? Tomorrow, we're going to get into, where is it? Tomorrow, we're going to get into spent the week. No, I don't know. So, Jimmy, I don't know if that's going to be the top we're going to get into tomorrow, but that's the one that I have on the piece of paper right now. But we're going to change that one up probably. But, guys, on behalf of Jimmy, myself, we're going to get out of here. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time, right here on LinkedIn, YouTube, and, of course, X and Twitch. Yeah, I always forget about Twitch. All right, so let's do this here. There we go there. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock in the lab. Go check out our Substack, InsideBapple.ai. Got some great stuff over there. We have some guests coming up tomorrow. Jerry Riles, Adam Bird, and Michael Retalk. Big show tomorrow. Three guests joining us. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock, right here. LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. Twitch as well. See you guys.